All right, let's talk about the New York City mayor's race. And again, there's a bunch of news we'll get to too. But Michael Bloomberg just tweeted. First, I told you he's putting more money into the pro Cuomo anti Mamdani super PAC. Here's what he just tweeted: 4 months ago, I endorsed Andrew Cuomo because I thought his management experience and government know-how made him the best choice for New Yorkers. I still do. And today, with early voting underway, I wanted to reiterate my support for Andrew Cuomo. Being mayor of New York City is the second toughest job in America, and the next mayor will face immense challenges. Andrew Cuomo has the experience and toughness to stand up for New Yorkers and get things done. I hope you will join me in supporting him. Mike Bloomberg used to be my boss. I can tell you this: he would not be giving money, he would not be retweeting his endorsement if he wasn't shown data that shows this is a winnable race. He just wouldn't. So what happened today? Another poll came out showing the race within about 10 points. Quinnipiac, here it is, number 21. Mamdani 43, down 3 points since early October. Cuomo at 33. You guys have that number 21? Here it is. And you look at the crosstabs, Cuomo's doing quite well. Here's the Cuomo press release on this poll. I'm going to read the whole thing to you because this gets the question I want to ask you, ladies, which is how a campaign that's clearly behind but seems to have momentum, how you balance being optimistic with not wanting to seem like you're assuming you're going to win. So here's the Cuomo press release about the poll and the situation generally. This is from the Cuomo spokesman. Make no mistake, the race is tightening, and Andrew Cuomo is closing in fast. This is the second poll in a week showing Mamdani stuck below 45% of the vote despite a lack of scrutiny and glowing press coverage, and Andrew Cuomo gaining. He's closed the gap by 3 points from the last Quinnipiac poll, and his coalition is expanding, keeping a third of Democrats, winning half of Republicans, and leading with independents. Next page, please. More importantly, older voters are breaking hard for Cuomo, and they're the ones showing up early. That's how you win in New York City. We've seen this movie before. In the Bloomberg and Giuliani races, late polls missed the surge of real working class voters who turn out when it counts. The same thing is happening now. So while Mamdani continues to spew word salad, he's stuck in the mud. The momentum is with Andrew Cuomo, and it's only growing every day. I rate about half those sentences as true, but that's politics. But the true ones are important. Cuomo went on Fox News today and once again went hard after the left wing of the party. Here he is, number 18, and this roll 18 right into 19, please.
Truth is, there's a quiet civil war going on in the Democratic Party right now. You have an extreme left, radical left. Bernie Sanders, AOC, Mamdani is just the banner carrier for that movement, versus the mainstream moderate Democrats. They now call me moderate. They used to call me liberal. Now I'm a moderate because the whole party shifted. And that's what this election is about. It is that civil war. I believe that far left will destroy the Democratic Party. I believe it will destroy the Democratic Party nationwide if that far left becomes dominant. It would be the death. It would be the death of the Democratic Party. The Republicans are licking their lips, hoping this kid Mamdani wins because they can pick him up and carry him around the country and say, here's the Democratic Party, 34-year-old, never had a job, wants to decriminalize prostitution, doesn't like the police, defund the police, abolish jails. Literally a socialist, anti-business, anti-corporate. Government should control the means of production. That's what their first motto. That's Marxism. So
okay, you can dump out of this.
Socialist.
Just to clarify, the first bite was from Fox Business, not Fox News, and this is obviously Stephen A. Smith on Sirius XM. So let's review what's happening. The polls are showing it tighter than it was. The early vote data, in terms of the size of it and the makeup of the electorate, is older, favors Cuomo. Cuomo had the best debate of his life, I think, in the final debate of the race. Mamdani has been a bit on the defensive on a few issues. And the New York Post is rat-a-tat-tat every day. Opposition research has dropped on him now 3 days in a row. So, Karen, you know Andrew, right? Did you work for Andrew or you just know him?
I just know him.
You just know him. All right.
We were in the Clinton administration together.
Right. All right. We'll start with Karen. So, Karen, if you were in the Cuomo war room, how would you be trying to message here regarding the state of the race? Do you think they're doing a good job? What are the elements of trying to say we're behind 10, but we can still win without seeming oblivious or overconfident or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, I I think that he's right that there's a quiet civil war going on in the country, and there's probably a quiet effort by his team right now to get the establishment Democrats who Andrew can rely on, and mostly older people like Bloomberg who can come in and support him at the end, because it's about, really the brand of the Democratic Party and what that'll mean coming out of this election. I don't agree with him, and I wouldn't say it'll destroy the party and that somehow, civilization's going to end if Mamdani is elected. And I don't think he's in any danger of being over optimistic about his chances, because he's been, he's got some humility, I assume. I think that he knows how much in a hole he has been. And it doesn't matter. I really don't think it's going to matter that much to most people in the country if Mamdani wins. It's not going to screw Democrats overall if we choose who Cuomo says is a socialist. He has to fail in office in order for it to matter, regardless of whether he's 34 or 84, just as Andrew Cuomo failed in office, and it didn't ruin the rest of the Democratic Party. So if I'm him, if I'm his campaign, I'm trying to bring in the Bloombergs and the people who can be standing up and making him not look damaged, which he is. He's damaged candidate. And I would
Yeah.
try to bring people in that restore his dignity and leave it at that.
Yeah. Kristen, it's hard to poll a race like this, right? You've got a Republican, you've got two Democrats, you've got a guy whose support he's had one citywide election, and you can look at who's voters in the primary. But I would think they'd be whether they're looking at the public polls or they're doing their own polling, it'd be kind of flying a little bit blind, right?
I think they're flying a little bit blind. I also think the timing is tough. So the final week of a campaign, every poll that's out there is bouncing around the world. And I would caution every campaign to take every poll that comes out in the final, 7 days with a grain of salt, because polls start to herd, people, Quinnipiac's pretty reputable in terms of just the numbers they give, but still there's gonna be a little bit of a herding process there. One poll shows it close, then another, and you have that margin of error start siding to one way. I think that the biggest lesson here in this race in New York, Mamdani has a lot of, frankly, scary things to outside of New York, normal Americans. But the Democrat Party and frankly, the Republican Party shouldn't lose the what is attracting a lot of voters to Mamdani. It's his focus on this cost of living, this populist message. I mean, that is what I'm afraid is going to get lost in like the more sexy aspects of this race, like, like 9/11 and this and that, like outrageous things. That's going to be the focus of, wow, he's really scary. But in reality, people are flocking to him because he's addressing the fact that they can't afford an apartment and they can't afford to ride the bus. And yeah, he has terrible ideas on how to fix that. I'm saying that as a Republican, but that's why he, kind of took off. And that's the bigger thing here. I don't necessarily believe this is a 3-point race. I think at this stage of the game, most people who say they're undecided just don't want to tell a pollster they're not going to vote. So it's really about turning out. Now, out of all those data points that were in the Cuomo press release, the one that I do believe would be to follow is the early vote turnout. So if that is trending their way, then maybe it is going to be a little bit closer. Maybe Mamdani's people are missing something and it's not going to be the blowout they thought. But in terms of polling and news articles and all that, it gets so noisy at this part of the campaign that, if I was running his campaign, keep your head down, stop focusing on this stuff, and just go and start pulling your people out of their apartments to go vote. I mean, that's what he really needs to be doing. And we'll see in a few days. But really, the biggest message here for both parties, and I think you need, watching all the chaos that's going up in that main Democrat primary is the same thing. I mean, that guy has the younger Democrat who's running has so many issues, but he's still packing rooms of 700 people. And it's because he has the same populist, you're hurting, I'm hearing you message. And I think similar to how we all underestimated Trump in 2016, who had that same message, we might underestimate it again. And that's what I would encourage both parties to really focus on after this election on Tuesday.
Cozy Earth. So I love getting emails about Cozy Earth. Unlike these emails about tech support. So I got an email from one of you today. Let me see if I can find it here. Yeah, this person's a little bit famous. I won't lie to you. Some of you have heard of this person. Here's what he emailed me. He said, Mark, I'm reminded of the versatility of the Cozy Earth pants as I sit here he's in a prominent place in Washington. I won't say where, in a session on what do you call it? An issue. He says, I'm wearing the pants with a sports coat and a button down, and no one's the wiser. Again, you can wear it with a sports coat and a button down, and people will just say, yeah, nice slacks. But you could wear them literally to the beach or watching the World Series tonight, where I was told they plan to walk Otani every at bat, which makes me nuts. Anyway, Cozy Earth products available to you now, the bedding, the pants, everything. You can't be beat. And you hear me talk about the pants all the time because they're so incredible. Go to cozyearth.com, use the promo code two-way, cozyearth.com, promo code two-way for 20% off. Cozyearth.com, promo code two-way, because home isn't just where you live, it's how you feel. Let's go home with Cozy Earth. They say that something that's easy is like a walk in the park. Well, easier than a walk in the park, hit the subscribe button, be part of the two-way community, never miss an episode, be part of our conversations. Thank you for your service to America. And don't forget, you can now listen to the morning meeting and two-way tonight on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.